I get it. Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. Korsa. Nsila ID soto.
Ah, that's what. Sorry. I get it.
Bijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara Allah service o tariya.
Ah,
mbare ki janna nun kunu bara tariya.
Ah, janno mi yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Ha. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Ha. Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bere to. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannam number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi man domorol ni fana be teat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Ha wo moy o diat ha.
Apelenta
baraka ni lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.
Gamcell data, now even better. Enjoy 20% extra data on all Gamcell data bundles. Buy 20 megabytes and get extra 4 megabytes. Buy 50 megabytes and get extra 10 megabytes. Buy 100 megabytes and get extra 20 megabytes. Any amount of Gamcell data bundle you buy, you will receive 20% extra data for free. Dial *302* data amount hash or go to your Yaiborom menu and choose your data bundle now. Gamcell data, it's fast, lasts longer and very reliable. Gamcell Yaiborom.
Alright.
Honey, did you remind him that the last time he sent the money, it was not enough to buy all the provisions?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell him.
Are you guys talking about money transfer to buy provisions?
Yes.
But
Don't you know about Baluwo?
Baluwo?
What is Baluwo?
Baluwo is a service that your son can use to send provisions directly to you guys from the shop. And you don't have to worry about the exchange rate.
Tell me how Baluwo works.
It's very simple.
Just log on to baluwo.com and shop, or download the app on your phone. You can shop on the website or using the app to buy online basic products for your family and friends. With Baluwo, you decide what your money is spent on. Your money, your choice. Buy online products for your family and friends in the Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria or Mali. Baluwo, better than sending money.
For the first time in the history of the Gambia, Gambia Printing Publishing Corporation proudly introduces the Biliomatic exercise book printing machine. The machine has the capacity to print more than 20,000 books per hour. Yes, 20,000 books per hour. It also prints magazines, newspapers, calendars, flyers, normal books and all kinds of printed documents plus items at affordable prices. With the Biliomatic printing machine, GPPC can now render high quality and non-size restricted printing service supply across the sub-region. Rush now and partner with GPPC for all your public and private printing service needs. Print with us today and you'd be offered highly professional, reliable and efficient service delivery by our team of experts. The Gambia Printing and Publishing Corporation is here to meet all demands and is reliable at all times. For more info, contact us on 437-4493 or 437-4402. GPPC is Gambian and it's yours.
and welcome to the brunch on Kerr Fatou Live. I'm Lamin Cham, and our weekly show is back with current affairs, big interviews, and of course, interesting profiles and features. This week, we look forward to the local government elections coming next year. We look at the West Coast region, where already aspirants have emerged, which express an interest to contest for their various parties, some on independent candidate capacities. This week, I bring two gentlemen, Jammeh Bojang, who is aspiring for the United Democratic Party's sponsorship for West Coast chairmanship, and Ahmad Gitteh, who is aspiring for NPP sponsorship for the same job. But Jammeh Bojang is yet to be in the studio, but Ahmad Gitteh, of course, as dedicated as usual, is here, and we'll start right with him. Mr. Gitteh, I want to use this platform today to for you to chat you up, to tell me about your inspiration rather, and aspiration for the job you just announced that you're really interested in, and that is the Brikama Area Council Chairmanship, the biggest region. But of course, we will talk way back to your relationship with the National People's Party. Why do you think you are entitled, or what justification do you have, by even dreaming to be their candidate? Of course, we have to point out that at this stage, neither the NPP nor the UDP have made any decision on who will really represent them, or who will be their candidate in that election. So we have to make that clear very soon. Mr. Gitteh, welcome to the brunch. It's been only once before that you've been here, so I'm glad to have you back.
Thank you so much, big brother.
Thank you.
Lamin Cham, and to viewers out there, good afternoon, right from the Kerr Fatou studio. I'm grateful to be here as a guest, and I'm sure we would have some very interesting session here. And I can't wait to have my uncle, Jammeh Bojang, who I admired so much during his days with,
Gambia Football Federation.
Yes.
Secretary General.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good. It's been, so much water have passed under the bridge since you were last year.
Yes.
We were then leading to the presidential elections, and you are very, 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 very active NPP. I mean, you virtually identified with everything NPP. Let me first begin. Are you the same Ahmad Gitteh, with the same affiliation with the same NPP?
Well, yes, I would like to think I still am the same Ahmad Gitteh, with the same affiliations to the party that I am a founding member of.
Exactly.
And of course, as you move and grow, a lot of shifts happened.
Yeah.
You have new, kind of ideas, you see things differently, and modifications, transformations, and all of that, occur. But the same Ahmad Gitteh, the same founding member of the National People's Party. Yes.
This is very interesting, because you often said you are not a supporter of NPP. You said you are a founding member. You are NPP itself. You together with you and others. I mean, it's a brainchild of you along with others.
Yes.
Yourself.
Yes.
Okay. Take us back. How did you get involved with the NPP? I mean, you always claim that you were present when it was being drawn on the board.
So yeah. I mean, of course, you all are aware that we all came with the coalition as supporters or members of the United Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And when elections were conducted, the coalition won, and of course, in preparation for a complete UDP government, 2017 going down, some, splits, occurred.
Yeah.
And some of us that, were with Barrow, were seen as rebels and unfaithful party members, and we all moved. We moved away. There wasn't anything. What happened was a youth movement started, but this actually started before even the split occurred. Now the youth movement was transformed into Barrow Fans Club, but during all that period, there were people that were dealing with how to transform that into a political party. Of course, personally, I wouldn't say I have written any letter or document, but I knew that I've had conversations with people who were actually aware of what was going on. And I've had that back and forth conversation with people and all of that. And, we were at the forefront too, even, before the coming of the official document and the, let's say, the launching of the party to defend either Barrow as a president and head of government, and also the need for us to come together and contest in the forthcoming election, which would now be the past elections of 2021 December. So I mean, a lot happened.
Okay, so virtually it means that it's come to all this. You were definitely part of the first people who really embraced the idea of Mr. Barrow, since there is already a split, for him to move on.
Yes.
With his own agenda. In other words, you were pioneers of the Barrow agenda.
Yes.
Okay, that's understood. And then you participated, like I said. Everybody saw how active you were in the lead up to the presidential elections. You even attracted a lot of backstabbing, insults, etc. for people who said you actually insulted people in defending Barrow's presidency. You insulted the people he had worked with. You didn't even agree that you even insulted people.
Yeah, I mean, in the heat of the moments, for a lot of those that are active speakers, so it definitely, going back to some of the things that happened, yes, there were statements that I said that
you could have would
have been said in a better way. Of course, sometimes I'll look at the records of those that actually are very critical of what I say. And this is not in any way a justification that some of those things that were said by me should be. But the people that would sometimes, okay, if I'll be blunt, it's more about Darboe in passing. A lot of people that will say I insult, it's most of the time against the passing of Honorable Hussein Darboe, the leader of the United Democratic Party.
For them, any criticism, mild or severe, directed at him is considered as an insult.
I would think so, because sometimes the things that they would think are, insults against him, I would see as, let's say, you said something that I. But like I say, the same people would sit at the ghettos and say worse things to what actually was to my leader. So I look at it, but again, this is not a justification that I should, because as I've said this during Ifam Bondi with my brother Lamin. I mean, some of the things, when everything is settled, the dust settles, sometimes I go back and sit down and watch some of those things.
I was angry
I would have said these things a lot better than I have done. And I would quote BB Darboe, Bakari Bunda. We used to communicate a lot. And there was an incident that happened, and I called him. And one thing he told me struck me very hard. He said, it is those that speak, it is those that are always, in the limelight and are always speaking that make mistake. If you are a politician and you're always talking, you would make mistakes. Learn from the mistakes.
Call them gaps or off the cuff.
Good. Learn from the mistakes and move on, especially for a young person like you. You have a lot to learn, and that to me was a great lesson to learn. And I'll make a lot more mistakes, and of course we're careful. Like I said, I am very much transforming. I'm learning a lot, and I've learned a lot, and you know, these things are helping me to actually have my way in a very smooth and friendly way. 2021 election, I would tell you, was a very special one.
Yes.
It was very tough. And sometimes, you know, there are situations where you must be brutal to be able to have your message sent across. I mean, yes, I would believe. You know, when you look at, I once read this article about, I mean, great leaders. So, I mean, sometimes the water must be hot, like the water must boil before you know, I mean, offer people. Sometimes it has to be a little warm. Sometimes it has to be cold, depending on the situation. And I would believe, you know, we were dealing with an opponent that was fierce.
Okay, it be, you know what we call in sports, an anticlimax. Like, it's like a contest where, I mean, everybody sees, consider it as common, a matter of death or, you know, or life, life or death. And then eventually, it is won so easily.
Yeah.
So for some observers like that, we take that the results became an anticlimax. Everybody thought it was tightly close. I mean, you know, of course we had objections here and there, but we thought it was going to be so tightly close. In the end, it became, you know, it was won very successfully and very easily for your ticket. Now, people have seen you kind of, to be frank, inspired the youth representation in the party, obviously, because you've been the figurehead in terms of youth involvement with the party. Now that the elections are over, as to speak, as they would say, it became the time for the cake to be shared, so to speak. So, for us to share the spoils. You were very much hyped to be at least a member of the cabinet. And the president himself hinted to me, in fact he told me first, that all his positions, a majority of them are going for his party and the coalition who supported him. To some extent he didn't do that, even though many people praised him for not actually doing that. But you were famously left out of cabinet appointments. Of course, there is a precedence to this. Shortly after the elections, you came out on a video and were sharply criticizing some of the ways you think were handled, particularly between you and the First Lady. And many people thought that really was your undoing. I mean, you rather prematurely came out, prematurely and, you know, in fact, immaturely brought up an issue that could have been handled, they think, internally. So in other words, you went far too much, and this has hurt the people in the NPP who might have worked to see that you are excluded from any of the political appointments that followed. Did you yourself feel disappointed or surprised that you are left out in the cabinet positions? Because even to the neutrals, if anybody deserves to be there, it's Ahmad Gitteh.
Well, I've heard that a lot, but would I be disappointed? No, I was not disappointed. Before, I don't know, I think my mic.
Yes, you could have, yes. I don't know how long ago was that, but it's okay.
Yeah, I guess yeah. Okay, so way before the elections, this was in May, I've had a discussion during the registration process. I flew into Gambia in May. I was here May, June. I left end of June. That 2 months, I was very active, getting people to go and get registered.
You really inspired.
When I came, I sat 2 cabinet ministers down who are very influential and are very close to the president. And what I told them was that the party might win the presidential elections, but I believe to have this party well structured, we must not consider all our best brains for the position of cabinet. And personally,
Good point.
I have interest in running at local government level. We're young. We want leaders for the party for the future. I am on record. In fact, one of the ministers was Ibrahim Silla. The other I would not. But Silla, who is actually the desk officer for West Coast, was one guy I said this to. He's alive, he's not dead. And the second minister I wouldn't want to mention for some other reasons, but the minister knows.
But you
and I told them, young ones like us, you know, we should start from grassroots with administrative experiences, and let us go push and feel the, you know, the views of people in our various regions about us. That's how you build politicians, especially from the part of the world that I come. And in fact, even in Dakar, most of the people, you push them to go to grassroots level, either council, you know, National Assembly, local government. Push your smartest brains, send them there, let them go and battle it out with support. They grow up. By the time they get to that, you know, level to seek for national leadership, they are at least experienced. This is what I told Silla. But during that time, President Adama Barrow has been echoing, and publicly a lot of people have heard those. In fact, he has said several times, both in public and, you know, in private, that this new government, after he wins the election, the cabinet is going to be for young people.
Oh, yes.
He has always said that.
Right.
And he has been singing this several times. And to Silla and this guy, and this I believe was out of, you know, goodwill for me. They exactly what they told me is the president is really talking about, you know, the need for younger generation in the new cabinet. And if you look at the National People's Party, and we want to talk about young people, definitely if you are not number one, you're number two. And I will believe this is a goodwill. So Ibrahim told me, so I would believe local government, or, you know, any elected position, you got to forget about that. And I 100% believe that if there'll be new cabinet, you are going to be one of those. Yeah. These are things that they've discussed. I you know, was never anticipating for a cabinet position. But then again, when, you know, elections were over, of course, a lot of people have started discussions, and like it would happen, lobbying started, and there are prominent people who equally came to me to ask me if I'll be interested in any cabinet position. I say, well, this is what I've discussed. I always reference Silla. This is what we've discussed, but I don't want to have this trust in my mind, or this mentality, or, you know, that I will be in cabinet. And constitutionally, the president has the mandate. If he leaves me out, that might build something bad you know, I mean, and I don't want to feel that way. So we better leave it that way. But then they've actually suggested a particular cabinet position, and some said, of course, they've discussed it with the president. I have no idea. I've never told the president about the position I wanted. I've had a lot of discussions with him. I would only appeal to him, and I'm on record, for appointment of X and X and X in cabinet, and please maintain X and X and X. I did that like many people would do, and like he would always do. We will see what happens. For now, you know, let's concentrate on the parliamentary elections, and I'm definitely fine with that. Constitutionally, he has that power. So, I mean, I wasn't surprised that I was left out of cabinet. I've always had this intention. I've always had this belief that for young people, we have to, you know, start from somewhere. Starting from the top sometimes, you know, only expose you to a lot of, I mean, some of these
hazards.
Things, yeah, I mean, you know, you might be good, but your level of maturity and experience might not be there. So if they put you there, what it does more is to expose you to weaknesses and a lot of problems, and that hope and trust that people have in you will dwindle. And I knew about this very, very well. And this was one of the reasons why I suggested to Silla and others. This was back in May of 2021, before even Barrow won.
Exactly.
Ibrahim Silla is alive. Okay. So I was not.
So in a way, you, unlike many people who felt that you are entitled because of the work you have done for the party, you were not in fact making yourself entitled to anything in the cabinet. You wanted to grow in the party in some position until you mature to handle higher positions.
Yeah.
So you were not particularly very surprised that you were left out.
Yeah, I'm not.
But wouldn't you agree that the video I referred to, which many people thought you personally attacked the first family?
Yeah. That I went too far.
Didn't you think that was among the things you said, on hindsight you would have said, oh, I could have said this better. Didn't you think in that light the video might have played a role in the complete, whether imagined or real strain in relationship between you and the party?
Well, I mean, I don't know how it should be a strain between me and the party, because the party is different from president and his family.
Very difficult.
Well, that is exactly that is exactly.
In our reality, it's very difficult to separate the president
in the Gambia,
exactly,
in Africa, and that is one thing we have to learn to do, because the party is an institution. President Adama Barrow or any other leader in the party is an element. We might have more influence than each other based on the roles that we're given by the people in the party to play. But we all have one vote to contribute to the well-being of that party. And of course, there were people in the party who were not happy with what I do. But in the Gambia, it's not abnormal for people to please a seat of power, just to make sure they have favors. And I was very calculative of what I did. I knew that it could cost me a lot, but I've also weighed that what have I gotten to lose from that? Because like you said, a lot of people didn't actually properly watch that video. I've always wanted to not talk about this, and I think this would be the last time. But let me put the minds of people to one. And this particular issue was between me and the First Lady. Yeah. And I always say this: what I endured, what I accepted, half of it, those that are shouting against me wouldn't accept.
Maybe
the whole matter was very simple, and I say it, and I'm proud to say it again, that my responsibility as a coordinator, I coordinated the party the campaign activities of the First Ladies. This was an assignment I was given, and I did this very successfully. And to me, the two First Ladies are the same. They are both, the wives of the president. And if one assign me a job, I will do just like the other did. So my problem has been, I got insulted after I left a $4,000 job from Canada without any agreement with President Barrow or the party. And again, for people to understand, when I came, I've been here from September 1st to January 30th. I came here to help to an extent for President Adama Barrow to maintain his job where he gets his living from and where his family is fed from. That is his job. I left mine to come and help him. Even from the customary point of view, if someone comes to your farm to assist you on your farm, and in helping you, perhaps something happened between the guy and perhaps one of your family members, it's only right that as head of family, you reach out to say, hey, I've heard about this and this and this, and I felt it shouldn't. Absolutely. Whether he would give you as you are right or you are wrong, at least have it discussed. And I that is why I actually blamed him for
your crime might have been coming out in the open with this.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, so this was what happened. I mean, if I had come out at the right time, I wouldn't say Barrow will not lose the election, but Barrow will go to sleep very sad and very uncomfortable, because this happened when the campaign was very hot.
I got your point. You were considerate of what was happening.
Definitely. So when I was insulted, this was around the 17th, 18th of November, when the campaign was very hot.
Yeah.
I informed a few people. In fact, I wanted to go back to Canada. One of the securities is aware. The following day, I said I was not going to the campaign. Yeah. I was not going. But, you know, they called me. They say, if you do that, that's going to be a disaster. Yes. And we discussed, and I forgot about it. I kept quiet. And I know that a lot of people that are blaming me wouldn't have done that, because there was nothing I was given. I left my job, and I came here to help somebody. And here am I being disrespected for no reasons.
Yeah, but you
so after that, I continued my relationship. I continued to campaign until after election. Another incident happened. I avoided the First Lady. Another incident occurred again. I avoided the First Lady. Where the problem happened was, there were people in the party who felt that the relationship between me and the First Lady, on behalf of the President, should not be soured. And they've tried to bring reconciliation, and I knew I was offended. They've come to me, they've pressured me to go and apologize to the First Lady. This was after all this that happened, and I know between me and Allah, I was right for all those things that happened. And I swear, billahi wallahi tallahi, I knew I was right. And that is why I'm very comfortable, because God will never punish the righteous. And no matter what happened, I know one day Allah will give me the victory. So imagine you've gotten all these insults, and you are saying there is no Gambian who is not aware of the work I have done for that. Nobody would deny that. Now you got all that and you're present. Nobody knew about it. This happened before the election. Now my problem had been, I went to State House. They drove me to State House the day I was leaving this country, 30th of January, to go and apologize to the First Lady. I went and apologized and said, I am sorry for what happened. You are the wife of the head of state. You are older than me, and you are a First Lady. And we've had some very great relationships before. I've come to apologize to you. After the apology, another insult train. And this is where I said, damn, this is no, I would never take that. Never. And if I will be a vice president that's going to stop that, let it stop it. I that is never going to happen. And the problem with the president is, at least he knew about it. He did not handle it with me.
You blame him for knowing.
That's it.
And not taking
that's it. And now the blame is mine because I went out. But what happened before I went out was never said. I'm a human being. I'm someone else's husband. I'm someone else's child. I'm someone else's loved one. And no matter what, this is a political party for all of us. And there is a limit that we can all accept disrespect and disregard as a people. And if that was why they think I wasn't in cabinet,
many people could have cost you.
So be it. And I don't care. So be it.
You are not worried that if it remains like this, it may hamper your chances of becoming anything in the party, including you just announced aspiration to get the party. So
this is what
that's the topic now we have. We have already covered background. We go straight into it. What inspired you?
Yes.
To really express interest in contesting for the chairmanship of the Brikama.
So first,
but then the first thing we come to the NPP. How do you think, given all what happened, are your chances for the party?
Before the program started, I was talking to you about okay. So this is probably because I left Gambia a bit younger, and then got the exposure outside, because I've been active in politics back in Canada, and perhaps I've stayed there for a decade and almost half, and my orientations are a bit different from what the local politician would think. But what I see is, I mean, the party is an institution, of course, with people with different responsibilities, and we must separate the party from an individual. We have, let's say, you know, in South Africa we have ANC. There has always been a problem between Jacob Zuma, Cyril Ramaphosa. You have, you know, Thabo Mbeki. You have those issues.
You have just described how the UDP people take Mr. Darboe as a cult figure. I mean, you know, any criticism directed at him, whether it's fair comment or just malaise, it seemed to be, you know, I mean, a big abomination.
Yeah, and that is...
All right. Given the background,
yes.
All of you, Mr. Barrow,
yes.
I mean, Dudusano, Siaka Sonko, Alkali Conte, you all have your orientation from the UDP. Maybe that's perhaps this same cult culture is what is continued the NPP. You failed to learn your lesson that if you take on Barrow, you will lose.
Well, I first and foremost, I never take on Barrow. I have, yes. So, yeah. If that is, you know, I mean, I hope that is not what he feels. I mean, well, that people have right to question. Yeah. But this is what I am saying. I think to an extent, there are many people that, like I say, would want to worship to get something. But there are equally people that are very genuine and very progressive minded. Yeah. And, you know, by now, the party, we've been together for some time to be able to understand who is who in the party, who is what, who is capable of what. And I mean, as far as I am concerned, like I would always say this, the best that the party could do, and perhaps the president, is to understand that if the party goes against Gitteh, it is the party that has everything to lose. First and foremost, I'm a young man. I have great jobs where I come from, but they know that I have been able to prove my worth both for Barrow and for the party. So if the party can weigh, is it getting rid of Gitteh or keeping him? That is in the interest of the party and not in the interest of Barrow, because the party is there. Barrow would wish, as a leader, that I think that the party outlive him. That he would be sitting here and the 5th president after him is still chosen by NPP. I think he would. If that is his mentality, I would think he would have to weigh what is in the interest of me as a person and the party when it comes to Gitteh. Is he better off? Are we better off as a party getting rid of him, or are we better off as a party keeping Gitteh? Barrow has to decide that I know my worth now. I know how much I'm worth. I know how much I can contribute. And I know a lot of Gambians understand what I am worth. And so that time of degrading yourself is gone. So, I mean, NPP, of course, would have to decide. But I wouldn't think there is a candidate that will come out in West Coast region that would be ticking boxes that I have ticked for the MP. for that position of a chairman. That is exactly what I am saying. So if NPP wants, I mean, they can decide. I know what I should do, and I believe my relationship with Barrow has nothing to do with serving the people of West Coast, because I know I have interacted with West Coast people 10 times more than the president did. I went to places that his securities would not allow him to go. I went to places that even if he wants to go, he will not be able to go by virtue of his position. I was born and raised there, and there wasn't a village that I have not visited during presidential elections. And I have interacted with thousands and thousands of people, and I know what is with them about me. I made my announcement, and perhaps if they are observant, of course, if they want to, they would see the I was going to ask you. Yes.
Since, well, we in the Standard broke the news.
Yes.
How have been the reaction from the NP? So none of the senior people made any comments. We solicited comments from them, but we couldn't.
Yeah.
None of them made any public comment.
Just like I told you.
But from what you have gathered from yourself, was your announcement really well received?
I mean, yes, by yes, a lot of people.
But they didn't make any public statement.
Whether they would want that known or not,
okay,
I would say yes. I have called and informed a lot of very prominent people in the party, regional, constituency, and national level.
Executive members.
And I would always have the same thing. You know, we all believe, like you believe, that you would have been given a much more influential and bigger position in the party.
Exactly.
And chairmanship, like they would think, is so, come on, is so low for Gitteh.
They didn't know that will empower you more, because an elective position really gives you more empowerment.
Yeah, so so to a lot of them, you know, that's the least I could ask from the party. And so you know, this is a blessings in disguise, as a lot of them would say, that Gitteh would want to offer himself. This is the best gift. The party would have. Let's wait and see what's going to happen. I got that from a lot of people. Some even asked me to write and apply officially, but I'm not doing that yet because the party has a lot of legal requirements to fulfill. We have not been to Congress since we've clocked 2 years, and constitutionally we must. So this particular executive will not be responsible for selecting the nominees or candidates for local government election. It is the coming ones after the party conducts its congress. So I'm not bothered. I'm waiting for the party to do that, and I will officially.
Do you expect any much changes in that?
I mean, I would think so. Yes.
Barrow will still be.
Well, yes, he would. I mean, we'll have. I mean, there are perhaps 2 more congresses before 2026. It's every 2 years. So I mean, we would see where we go with that. But I would think, especially in West Coast, there will be a lot of changes.
Okay. Supposing you win the sponsorship of the NPP, you are now facing the people, the voters. How well do you know, in fact, the problems of West Coast, and how do you want to tackle them? In a way, if I sit here, I think West Coast and KM. Well, there are more people in West Coast, but I think KM is more affluent than West Coast. But then I also think, look, there are what we call, you know, natural resources. More of them, far more of them are in West Coast than KM. So how can we harness and put this to the benefit of the people? I mean, these are some of the issues. You look at Brikama, supposed to be the headquarters of the region.
It's actually
Brikama,
the headquarters.
If it rains, the town center. I mean, if it rains, you would even like to go live in Burfoot rather than the place. Not to talk about Basori or Kitty, which is just next door. This plus the concern of the market women. I mean, West Coast is traditionally the bread basket of all the regions when it comes to sea products, gardening products, etc. A lot of things are happening. How well do you yourself know these problems? How do you want to solve them?
I mean, thank you for that question. First and foremost, I was born in Basori, West Coast, and we were young when we moved to Kitty. And these 2 communities, like you said, are farming communities, especially when it comes to gardening, vegetable gardening, and of course mangoes and you know, some other cash crops. I grew up in Kitty. I went to school in Brikama. I've been in Brikama, you know, for most part for about 9 years of my life before I came to Nusrat High School. I stayed in Bundung for some time and then went back to West Coast. And I grew up and I saw my own mother. She was a big gardener. We grew tomatoes and jahatu, bitter tomato, patansi, and a lot of these. And they will take them to the market, and a lot of times they will not be sold. And you resort to throwing them away because first there is no post-harvest measures to help preserve some of those things. And I believe the best we can do right now is to formulate policies and programs that will help us get very strong institutions within the region. This women market issue is a huge problem. A lot of people from all over West Coast will descend on Brikama market to go and sell. And of course, as you know, I mean, time would you know, demand, Brikama actually has almost the population of the whole of KMC. This is something people don't know. Brikama and its suburbs alone is almost equivalent to the whole of KMC. So there are a lot of issues that need to be looked at, and one of them is the congestion. How do we decongest the market? You know, you cannot go, you know, 10 years, 15 years when the entire country is descending on West Coast. Everybody that travels, whether you are from Basse, anywhere they go abroad, they don't go and buy land from Basse. Everybody buys land in West Coast. You know, Jabang, Burfoot, name them. So they all come here, and the facilities are really pressed. They cannot handle the market. You know, the demand is way bigger than the facility available. So, you know, when you get forced, because I know West Coast is a potential place for a lot of revenue collection, but you have to put in place very strong revenue collection policies to be able to maximize revenue. But these are all, you know, boiling down to putting in place very good policies to be able to generate this income and decongest Brikama. And you know, I mean, traditionally we have markets. When you go to Brikama, you have these buildings that are so small. I mean, what people do now is build higher buildings, story building, one floor, second, third floor, and this helps also decongest the market. And sometimes, I mean, the worst one is the drainage system in Brikama. I think for me, I know, and unfortunately, you know, when it rains, of course, it's a huge problem. Brikama is so big, and I believe that city, Brikama is now at a city level, should be given a lot of, you know, consideration, a lot of focus to be developed, to be, you know, built infrastructurally. It has to get that face of a real city like Dakar, you know, and you know, a modern city, you know, kind of. So to be able to do that, you have to really do a strong case study.
Revenue mobilization.
Yeah, but even more than that, I mean, a lot of waterways in Brikama are occupied now. When I was young, there are waterways that, you know, water comes from Brikama and run into Brikama, Medina, and head out to Kitty, yes. Now those waterways are all residential places. So you must come up with a lot more robust programs. Experts, bring them and let them help in looking at what is possible. Constructing roads is one thing, but getting the roads constructed with excellent and sustainable, you know, drainage system is even a lot more important. Otherwise, you'll be having floods and, you know, a lot of troubles, and water will not move. The other problem that I see in Brikama market particularly, that fish market was not supposed to be where it is. If I were in charge at the time, where the market is, the fish market should have been built somewhere. For example, governor's residence. No governor stays in the residence now in Brikama. It's a huge land. You know, what is it for? The buildings are messed up. You know, it's turning into a forest. That is a good land where, I mean, the council can have a discussion with central government to turn that place into anything. I mean, let's say first a strong storage facility. If people build if people bring their vegetables and they are not able to finish selling them, they go and keep their vegetables there and let that place be. Anybody selling meat, anybody selling fish, let them all go there. Let the other part of the market be for only selling vegetables, rice, and other stuff. I think those are some of the things, and of course, you know, environmental policies. Like I said, I have a lot of things going on right now. I'm dealing with experts. I can tell you, in West Coast, almost every Gambian that has a job at international level, whether it's IMF, whether it's World Bank, whether they are in Europe, in America, in Asia, and are well off, they have properties here. And a lot of them are reaching out to say, look, this is a concern for all of us. We all want to come home, but we want to come home to a region that is, you know, standardized enough to at least support the living conditions, the minimum, the bare minimum that we can accept. And some have volunteered to draft very robust policies and are willing to volunteer to come in and support me financially and all of that. And they believe in me as a young man who is educated and has a good job, but offers to come home and be part of that fight to be able to move this country forward. So we have a policy for youth development. We have a policy for infrastructural development. We have policies for revenue collections. We have a lot of policies for infrastructural and transportation of the region. And of course, environmental is a huge thing.
Exactly. I was coming there. I mean, you talk mostly about Brikama. Somebody listening to you or watching us in Sanyang and Brufut, Gunjur, they have their peculiar problems, challenges, and opportunities, actually.
Yes.
You're not talking about how do you fix those problems or harness the potentials that could come from Burfoot, for example. You have Sadamentary, which is well known as a tourist resort.
Yes.
I mean, the council, we were waiting for the council to get involved, upgrade that, maybe in collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism, to make it, you know, really a very, very good product for Gambian tourism. When you go to Sanyang, for example, we had their minerals being mined there, you know, precious stones or whatever you talk about. I mean, you know, how much, as a region, is West Coast benefiting from this?
I mean, the little research that I've done actually is that actually the royalties and all taxes are collected by geology. Ministry of Energy, not actually West Coast. And one of the things that I believe I am going to tackle very seriously, and this is going to be multi-partisan. I would like to, if I win, get the National Assembly members from West Coast together. We sit down across party lines and, you know, get that support to say, look, these hotels that are in a lot of hotels too, the taxes are collected by the GRA and not area council, and I believe that's unacceptable. I mean, you know, so I would believe that that should be revisited. Those policies, those laws need to be revisited, and I would want to engage the National Assembly members from West Coast to discuss this with them to help us engage the other legislature to help us get the share that we deserve from all these minings and you know, hotel industries that are in West Coast, and that way you'll be able to plow back these revenue to the communities. What is happening currently is not very fair. Of course, you can collect millions and you decide to give West Coast maybe 100,000 because you believe there is a road that is supposed to be built no, not even Katong, in Wulli Sutukoba, and most of the revenue you collected goes there, and I believe that is unfair to West Coast region.
Are you not going to bring?
No, I think everybody, I believe, will understand that what belongs to people
at least
need to
most of it should really
be planned. I think everybody will want that.
We talk about this outside Brikama.
Yes.
Some of the opportunities Gunjur may have or challenges is, of course, I mean, let's say Tanje, a very big popular fish landing site.
Yes.
When you go there, I mean, you see a lot of fish comes from there, but you look at the structures there, I mean, you always wonder whether this couldn't have been done. Now, the coming of the fish mills have caused a lot of controversy, even killings in this area. How are you going to tackle this?
I mean, like I said, so I am working very hard with experts, like I said, There is actually an environmental expert that is a Gambian. He used to be a professor of a very powerful, one of the Ivy Leagues universities in the US, and I knew his potentials, and we've had discussions, and he understood data because he's from the person is from West Coast, and I'm you know, having that discussion with him, and I've appealed to him to equally get some other experts for us to study. Gambia is a very small country. It takes you very little time to you know, look at these things and come up with, you know, tangible and very sophisticated solutions to them. So I want to believe, like, I am one of those that never support this golden lead fish thing, and I don't support it. I'm one of those, and I'm an environmentalist. I love that green, beautiful, nice environment, and you know, when you go to Gunjur, these are a lot of problems. I believe I am going to put forward policies with my team to make sure that we revisit some of these you know, contracts or agreements that the government has, central government has with these people, to be able to actually, even if there will be, but they have to be sustainable, environmentally friendly programs or whatever activities you want to put in place. So, I mean, the studies are on, and we're collecting data, because that's the biggest problem for this country. As a statistician that deals with data, and anyways, I'm a data analyst for Citizenship and Immigration Canada. That's my current job, and I look at a wide, you know, range of data and analyze it. The best way to develop a country or a society is to have an accurate data. That is a big problem for Gambia. You go and want to know, in fact, how many properties, business properties are in West Coast.
Well, I mean, the council on the city for some have done well. They digitalize the revenue. Now I can know, myself, I sit here, I can sit on the map and locate my compound in Brufut. Jammeh Bojang can get his compound in.
Yes.
And they digitalize that. I mean, that shows that they now know who doesn't pay his rent and who is due in areas. They know all that now.
Yeah, but there is still a lot of inefficiencies. Of course, that's a good start. That's a very good start. But I want to believe there has to be a 10-step forward to be able to catch up to the level that we want West Coast to get to. This is a huge region. I mean, and I would project that in the next 10-15 years, you almost would have half of the population of the Gambia settling, or having at least a relative settling in West Coast region. And that would require preparation beforehand. The land is getting done, and I'm scared. The last time I told somebody that if I ever have the ability to get elected, West Coast indigents are in trouble. A lot of land that is allocated by government, in fact 90% of the land that government
is allocated,
you know, transform into residential areas and give for free,
for free, including government officials.
Yes, it's from West Coast, most of the time.
What would the area
that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you would give land, you have to consider those whose parents own the land. And this is one of the ministers, actually, we had this discussion before. Yeah. If you are allocating a land in Brufut, Far Brufut has 10 children, and you took their land and you are demarcating it, and you
for a hotel or government officials,
yes,
or for private business, as it happened there,
or maybe for anybody. For example, you have to be considerate of Far Brufut's children. Yes. Otherwise, what's going to happen here is, from what I'm seeing, in 10, 20, 30 years, people that were born who own this region, West Coast, will end up going to Basse to stay there. So I mean,
you're definitely hitting a very valid point.
I have seen records, and this I am serious that people, most of the people that own these lands are not from here. Most of those that get this land allocation from government, a lot of them are not from origins of West Coast or Combo, and you have a lot of these Combo children that were born and are indigenous here, and their fathers' farmlands are transformed.
Bruford alone, they've taken the Bruford Heights.
Yes.
That used to be farmed by people in Bruford, I know. They've taken the Bruford Gardens.
And I can tell you when you do.
And then the Social Security have taken some part of Bruford as the Bruceby Housing Estate. And I can tell you that virtually nothing has come.
And again, that's what I'm saying. We're doing a research on all of this. If you look at the number of people who are allocated those lands, you will be shocked to know that very small percentage of that are in fact people from Bruford. So if you do that, you are denying the children of these people and their grandchildren from.
Some of the things you will tackle.
We have to really. This is a 21st century, and we're moving. Of course, I have nothing against anybody from any other part of the country, but just like they will want it in their regions, just like they will want it happen in their villages, they would also need to be considerate of those who are
in the talk about Combo now. Fonyi is part of West Coast. What's your plan for Fonyi?
It is
there.
Yes.
I mean, even you have like I said, there are areas that can be very good tourism products for the Gambia. Like Bintambalong is there. I mean, even the legacy of Jammeh, to some extent, you know, can be made to be sort of attraction. When you went to Kampala, they saw you total chambers of Idi Amin. It's undesirable, but people are still curious. They want to know. Yes. So for good reason too, you can even check Kanilai or the Sindola to be, you know, to be products that people be attracted to. And of course, where the central government failed to appease or sort of placate or appease the people of Fonyi, you think the Iraq Council on the Gitteh will be able to do it?
Yes, I think 100% yes. So I've been trying to reach out to a wide range of people, and already a lot of meetings are scheduled for me. The arrangements were done, and I'm supposed to be meeting a lot of people, influential people that I know from Fonyi, and they are movers. And you know, I mean, like I did during the presidential election, I was right in Fonyi, and I know people who would say we are with Babili, but we respect you. And I mean, I was born again and brought up in West Coast, and I have interactions with a lot of these people, and I would believe I'll go there. There's a point that you've touched, and that is very important. Gambia is a very small country. From here to Kalaji with a good road, you don't have 45 minutes to get to Kalaji. So I mean, for us, that's all in the urban Gambia. So these are places that, for example, for Gitteh, land is done in Combo. We don't have land, but we need to get involved in agriculture. I mean, you know, like food prices are very expensive. Everybody, the government, everybody accepted that. Why can't we engage in massive poultry production? And of course, that is something that I believe the council is going to get involved in. The youths want to get involved in agriculture. You know, commercial agriculture. And one way to help them with that is, you know, helping them with lands, especially in the Fonyis, where you have a lot of good places. Get these massive poultry farms, massive, you know, animal husbandry, and
the landing sites in Bintang and other places can be developed to be.
And they have, like you said, this ecotourism. I mean, you have a lot of beautiful bird species all around, and you have these tributaries all around Fonyi, the waters. You help rebuild the forest cover, and these can be used, you know, in the best way possible. Look, Dubai was a mess. I mean, they came up and make that place very, very attractive, and I believe we can definitely do it. And the policies are being formulated, and I'm sure Gambians will be will be very impressed with what I have on the table, because I have people who don't care about Barrow, they don't care about Mama Kande, they don't care about my party, they care about this country, and they believe in me, they have trust in me, and we are working very hard to
Good
get
point.
that done.
Well, we have heard from Gitteh, the aspirant for Brikama Area Council Chairman. Well, there you go.
He's my uncle.
Oh, there you go.
I admire him a lot.
Now,
During
Gitteh,
the GFA days.
now,
Yeah,
Gitteh,
definitely.
if you get successful as NPP candidate, and I try to impress on you that you may have a big problem, but you are telling that it's in the interest of the NPP to put you up rather than your interest put together. You will perhaps, if he too is successful in becoming a UDP candidate, you will face your uncle, like you have just said. Jammeh E.K. Bojang, welcome to the brunch. 2 weeks ago or 3, it emerged on social media that you are aspiring to be the candidate for UDP for the Brikama Area Council Chairmanship.
Yes.
True or false?
True.
Good. Now, what
To a certain point.
Not what entitlement do you have as a member of the UDP to dream that the UDP will put up you? How have been your relationship with UDP? Because for all I know, you were more well known in politics, rather in sports than politics.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lamin. Well, if you would allow me to give you a synopsis of that,
Okay.
I'll tell you that back in 1995, well, even before in the PPP era,
Yeah.
I used to be very active in politics, particularly in Kumodo. I was in fact the campaign manager for EKSR.
PPP 1992 elections.
Exactly. You know, and my association with politics, my involvement in politics came back from the days of old when I was in Amity School. We had the Black Panther Party, for which I was chairman. Strong-headed boy, those days, Mr. Alpha Khan, my teachers and the late Tony Blair will attest to that. I came out from school and then joined the Moja, the Movement of Justice for Africa.
Yeah.
And I was head of the Dakuku cell. I worked with Bijo, who is now in the UK. He was in the cooperative movement with me. I also joined the Gambia Anti-Apartheid movement, which I was secretary for international affairs during the struggle to free South Africa. I came through a lot of fora. And that did not disturb my other social lives like football, youth work. I was a member of the National Youth Bureau.
Yeah.
If you remember that.
That's organizes the Youth Week and all of this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And through that, I was the secretary to the board that established the National Youth Service Scheme here when Ibu Jobate was the chairman.
Yeah.
Ibu Juf, Cherno Toure, Amadou Lo, they were all with me there. Sol Jara, Rashida Ali, and we toured the entire country, recruited boys and girls, and I can proudly say that Musa, the deputy permanent secretary now, Musa Mbai, was my recruit. And
so that became the NYSS.
NYSS.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Then from there, I was elected into the GFA.
Yeah,
as the Secretary General.
98.
Yes, and in 2000, I was elected also to serve on the Gambia National Olympic Committee. I served on the Olympic Committee for 2 terms to 2008, and then during that period, in fact, or those periods, the 2 terms, I represented the Olympic Committee on the National Youth Council, National Sports Council. Sorry.
So it's association with sports, and of course, you became regional, how to call it, West African Region Zone A of WAFO.
Yes, I was General Secretary from 2012 to last year. Yeah, now contracted for 1 year,
and in the UDP,
I'm buying out.
And what about in the UDP?
In 1995, a group of us sat back and recapped that, look, these politicians have banned all the political parties, and what they normally do, looking at the historical perspective of military rule in Africa, they undress, they put the uniform out and then come out and say they want to be elected presidents. So we sat down, a few of us, I would even give you the names. It became a large crowd after Amadou Sane, this Amadou Sane in the UDP, Bolong Sonko, former Cisse, Alassane Gitteh, Bakary Sidi Dafe, Yankuba Diba of the OIC. You can name them. A lot of us got together. LS the late LS Bo. We got together and said, look, now all the political parties are banned in this country. We need to do something, or else these guys will come unannounced and say we are running for
which they did.
Which they, and the country would have not been prepared for them to challenge them. So we sat back and came up with our proposals, and guided by Job Kante, we set up a group which ended up as a political party.
Which party? The UDP?
No, SDP, the Social Democratic Party.
Oh, was that?
No, it did not come
on paper.
Yes, on paper. It didn't come into the political limelight.
Okay.
But then we were there.
All right.
And then Bolong Sonko was our leader, obviously. Amadou Sane was his deputy. You know, that's how we came. You know, so that when the ban was lifted, I hear a lot of stories about the formation of the UDP. But when the ban was lifted, we were invited to a meeting at Sidia Sanyang's home.
Okay.
Myself and LS Bo and Joe Kante represented the SDP, our group.
Okay.
Master Cisse, Koro's father, was there. Dr. Boro Suso, Sam Sila, the military man. A lot of people came. Bemba Tambedu was there. You know, Landin Jalo Sonko. They all came representing various parties.
Okay.
And then we talked about forming a merger. After long discussions, some names came up actually. Samsila was the first to declare that he wanted to be the leader of that coalition.
Of that caucus, yes.
But Master Cisse, I can still remember.
Seni Cisse.
Yes.
The late
Koro's father said, look, we are dealing with the military. We need to be very careful. We need to identify somebody who belongs to a larger tribe. Not on tribal basis, but then to have the political support. You know, so Dr. Boro Suso
was that not where the much trumpeted criticism against UDP started?
No, it wasn't. No, it was based on genuine
calculation.
Exactly.
You wanted somebody who would be
because if you take me from that time, you take me from the Jola tribe, I may not be a good challenger to Jammeh.
Okay.
You see the point? Okay. But at that gathering, all the tribes were there: Mandinkas, Fulas, Wolofs,
so to cut that story, where did that end? That's ended up in the formation of the UDP.
No. What happened actually was that Dr. Boro Suso suggested.
He died now.
Yeah, Boro, I just know him, Dr.
Boro, he's passed away.
He passed, yes. Dr. Boro Suso suggested, look, why not we talk to Usainu Darboe? That's how his name came up.
I see.
You see, so that day, I tell you, then we had spread our tentacles across the country through Action Aid and community development staff, Lamin Jaju, Falai Balde, and others.
Perhaps the
former Cisse was at the Women in Development Project and so on. So we use these institutions to reach out to the people in the provinces, in the regions, let me say, not only the provinces, even here. So we had ourselves and we had contact persons all over. You know, so when we agreed, when Usainu's name was proposed, he was then in America.
Yeah, he went to the
Olympic Games, Atlanta. Yes.
The Olympic Games in Atlanta.
Exactly. So a delegation was set up to talk to him. Then when they talked to him, he said when he came back, he was approached, and then he said let them give him days to go and communicate with his people, and they come back. So when he came back and gave the word, that's the end of SDP. We joined the coalition
and became UDP.
We became UDP.
But along the way, you were not very well known. Now, when you were, I can't remember any friction between you and Jammeh as opposed to the lawyer Darboe, the Bolong Sonkos who sacked him, Bolong Sonkos sacked him, and others. You were more or less concentrating on the sports.
Yes.
But were you behind the scene also active in politics? But
I wasn't so active in politics then, but I was a supporter. I didn't come out, yeah, because in my job as a Secretary General, you cannot show political colors.
Yes.
You can't show, in youth work, you cannot show political colors.
But behind the scene, of course, you know where your loyalty
Exactly.
lies.
I can even remember, I can tell you this, maybe your boss can tell you also. When, after elections, these guys will come with their barawulos and, in front of our compound in Bojang because we were UDP, and they were insulting us, Then we had all our elders in there.
So you had, I was going to actually set your connection, because many people will wonder, Jammeh, Bojang and UDP, well, that's why I want to bring you that.
Exactly.
Okay, but so much have happened now. I remember the first time I had you active was in the last parliamentary elections.
Yes.
That's the time when I started really hearing your name very connected with the UDP, especially in the Busumbala constituency.
Yes, in fact, Lamin, it was before then.
Yeah.
It was before the parliamentary elections, because what actually happened was I could not participate fully because I was outside the country. Running 16 countries in West Africa wasn't a joke. That was too heavy for me. But then with very versatile staff, I was able to do it for 11 years. 2012 to last year, I was able to run African football. But what happened was, in the presidential elections, I was very instrumental in the campaign.
Okay.
And then at one time, in fact, I was elected, or what, call it. I was elected as the chairman of the All Combo Rally.
Okay.
In that the rally we had in Brikama, the UDP rally. I had to tour the entire West Coast, Fonia and here, to mobilize support for the campaign. Because Babu Sar was then the chairman. I was chairman of the fundraising committee. Babu Sar was chairman of the organizing committee, the late Babu, my brother and friend. And when Babu died, they amalgamated the two positions under me.
Or you became the head?
I became the head.
Okay.
So virtually, my prominence in the party, like to some people like you, was
now
at that time.
What made you? What inspired you to run for this office?
Before that,
Mr. Gitteh has outlined some of the vision he has and why he thinks he's a suitable candidate.
Before then,
how familiar are you with West Coast problems?
I am a citizen of the West Coast region.
Yes.
Every citizen in every division in this country, I am connected to. Every division in this country. I worked in the cooperative movement for 15 years.
Yeah, but
the entire country, no.
What
football too. Football.
West Coast.
Yes, West Coast.
How au fait are you with the challenges there?
Very much so.
Okay.
Lamin, I tell you this, in 1992, I called a meeting of 53 villages in Kombo North, in Lamin. Yankuba was there with Alhaji Musa Mane, your Brufut guys. These two came to the meeting. Jibril Ba was there. He's currently the.
What was the mission about? What was the meeting about?
It was to break away from the Brikama Council. We had two missions. Yes, we had two missions. One.
You want to be
definitely we wanted to other train
from Brikama.
Yes.
But what a radical idea. Gitteh was hinting that West Coast should be empowered because they contribute a lot to the nation.
No, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. No, 1992. Yes. I was telling you. Yeah. I'm telling you that.
Why did you say that was going to be necessary?
Because we were not getting anything from our rates and taxes.
I see.
They're collecting from us and taking to Brikama. Brikama was not benefiting much more. Lamin or Brufut.
I see.
So you see. We were seeing people come with their plastic bags as staff of the area council, and when they are going home, they put their luggage in trunks to go home. They get rich here and go back to their communities. So that compelled us, really, to say, look, something has to be done. Kombo North, the biggest revenue base for Brikama Area Council. So if we had seceded, we would have been able to manage ourselves.
You wouldn't have been a division. How would you have called himself?
No, not a division. The council, I mean.
Oh, you wanted a council?
We wanted our own council.
Exactly. I see.
Kuntal Area Council did it from Georgetown.
But that was administrative convenience. Not by rebellion.
We also wanted that administrative
agitation and advocacy.
Yes.
Oh, Gitteh would not like a split.
No. Now I wouldn't want a split.
Those are, you know. I wasn't even in grade 1 in 1992.
Okay. Exactly.
So
you're still motivated by that philosophy.
No.
Not breaking away. Yes. But of course the fact that West Coast really produce a lot of goodies for the entire country and they must
benefit
from it.
West Coast is put it to anybody, and you'll get the positive answer. West Coast region compared to Banjul and KMC is most underdeveloped. We have to agree to that.
Gitteh will agree with you.
I have agreed.
Exactly, we have most of the resources.
I agree.
We have 12 constituencies in here, and no constituency or even a ward can tell you that for the past 15-20 years they benefited a lot from the area council. They come and put in a borehole
like they did with Burful for many years.
No market for you.
Wow.
I was just discussing with some of your people, Bajamba and others. They said Burful, where are all the taxes going to? We need to ask this question. That motivated me. In fact, what happened is Lamin, I aspired for Busumbara constituency, the parliamentary elections.
Oh, you would have been.
I was told by some people. Yes, I was Kanda knows. I was called upon by some people in the constituency, like Mbemba Tambedu, Bajamba, and others, to run. They said, look, you need to run for this political position. They don't aspire for political position.
Now we have to talk about Mandingo.
No, I'm telling you this.
Did I agree that Kombodingo should really have a place?
Exactly. So that prompted me to apply for the parliamentary elections. When they came to me and said apply, I said okay, I will. I did, but when Nodu Sabali applied, these same people came back to me, Mbemba and Co, to say no, now withdraw.
You withdraw.
We have something better for you tomorrow. I withdrew.
And that should be the council.
Well, yes. At that time they did not tell me.
How much chance do you have to I mean, how high is your chances to become the eventual candidate for the party? There is Kerr, whom you know very well in football.
Yeah.
One Tuku Jalo, a woman, I guess.
Yes.
Jammeh was very much a pioneer in the UDP, I guess. Can you remind me? Just a
lot of them.
There is a Darboe.
Yes. There is a Kambi.
There is a Kambi.
You know, look. No, like my
last time, a lot of people, I saw people trying to analyze their credentials, and a lot of them seem to have a very good credentials. I mean, how do you think? How hopeful are you that you will be eventually? I know the party has not decided anything.
Lamin, by virtue of my education in governance, in finance, in marketing, in whatever, in football, what I gained from football, I think that has given me an edge.
What do the party normally consider?
They consider some factors. They look at and your marketability.
Okay.
That's also very important.
Okay.
If Gitteh is more marketable than me,
in the party,
I think CA or another political party to which we belong should take him.
NPP belongs to NPP.
No, I can't confirm that. But no, I do hear my nephew on online, and you know sometimes he busts out.
Or do you believe that he no longer believes in
No, I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to put him in that posture.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say is, if we belong to the political party, they should look at certain criteria about us.
So you mean among all those who
our education,
so far,
our experience, our participation in the party,
acceptable, the popularity with the people.
Exactly, marketability comes in there. So you need to look at all this. You don't have to take somebody like Jammeh Bojang. You take me to Wuli. You can't sell me there.
Oh, because Syria will beat you hands down.
Exactly. Okay. So you look at some of these things, some of these criteria.
So how do you want to tackle these problems? Gitteh has outlined some of the strategies he wants. You know, Brikama, for example, he painted a very bad picture.
Absolutely.
You know, about how infrastructure.
Very bad.
Are very bad there.
Absolutely bad.
There are towns with individual opportunities and challenges.
Yes.
Such as good food. You know, I talk about how Sanaventering can be transformed to a very good tourism product.
Exactly.
Gunjur and Tanje, very good landing sites, you know, and stuff like that.
You see, my first assignment would be to look, Lamin, if the structure is wrong, if the system is wrong, nothing can work.
Okay.
I believe from the central government right down, the system is not correct.
Well, that's UDP will of course say that.
No. To be honest, Local Government Act. If you look at the Local Government Act, it's not correct. Look, how can an area council, like I was in Birmingham, I know how the council operates.
Of course.
In fact, recently I contacted them. I have some structural views of how a council is set up and how it operates. But what we have in here is serious. You have a governor sitting over the chairman.
Oh.
That is wrong in the first place. This chairman should be the person to take care of the resources.
So you mean administratively the chairman? Or I think the chairman is in fact more influential than
No.
But where does it? Would you agree? I think the chairman is the one who control and decide the resources.
No.
What is wrong with the government?
The government is overseeing it. What is the crisis at KMC recently?
Yes. No, that is the minister directly involved.
Still,
but the mayors control the post and spend.
The mayor, yes, there is a limit of control. But interference is there too.
Oh, okay. When you talk about interference,
interference is there.
The governor now can interfere.
Why not?
Well, I'm aware of some friction sometimes.
Exactly.
I mean, I know that area council deals directly with the revenue and sometimes the development of the region at local level. But of course, it's one thing too that I believe should be really looked into, because I believe these governor positions are colonial, and a way to sometimes frustrate. For example, let's say UDP comes to power as a government in the Gambia, and GDC wins the area council in KMC and Banjul and West Coast. I mean, there's always this friction. But if you have, like, let's say for KM and Banjul, it's a lot better. The mayor is there is no other official that has anything to. He's 100% there, except for the problems that might come from the ministry. But other than that, but for the other regions, governors, I am of the view that they are colonial, legacies that need to be. I believe in that too. I mean,
the same with me. That's why I brought the topic up. It's the same with me.
But the issue is, I think what the 1997 Constitution which created this thing. I mean, there was no duplication and friction under the Jawara regime because there don't exist chairman. I don't know whether you know that. There was no chairman of the council. It was the commission.
Yes.
You have what we call local government office, LGO.
Yes.
That deals directly with the local under the governor, commissioner.
That's true.
So, but the creation of this thing, which actually supposedly means to empower the council.
But it's more politicized now. It is more politicized than during the days of Jawara.
Okay, now
you see,
I'm going to introduce something that might concern each of you, all of you, if you get elected.
Okay.
That is the problem with the forest. The timber trade. And at this point, I would like journalist Mustapha Darboe to join us. He did an extensive investigation into the problem of timber trade, how it affects the Gambia, even our relationship with Senegal. Recently, we have been banned globally for trading in timber. All licenses have been revoked now by the Gambia government.
It was on the news, yeah.
And I want you to talk about the West Coast. How it affects West Coast, how an area council under your leadership or Gitteh will tackle this. But first of all, let's get Mustapha Darboe to tell us exactly what has happened that led to the global banning by the United Nations, condemnation and friction between us and Senegal over this issue. And then we tackle how you, area councils under you, would tackle this. So Mustapha, welcome to the brunch.
Thank you.
Good. This gentleman here aspiring to become chairman of one of the richest region in the Gambia, and of course a flashpoint when it comes to this timber.
Actually, not one of the richest.
The richest.
Not even one of.
Okay, if you say the richest, then
one of the richest. No, the richest.
No.
Well, you have different aspects of being rich. You have a potential.
The potential to be
and
the richest.
And
now we are
in reality, you are the poorest. Your job then are cut out. Whoever becomes the chairman. But one of the things I talk about is this timber trade.
Okay.
Mustapha, bring us to speed. What led to the global ban on timber trade? How much of damage in reputation that the Gambia has as far as this matter is concerned?
So what happened was that in around March or thereabout, the Gambia government made a request to export around 50,000 cubic meter of timber, of wood from the Gambia.
Gambian government made that request?
They made that request.
To take it to where?
China mostly. But the issue is, CITES regulates the trade in rosewood.
CITES is the international...
CITES is the Convention on International Trade on Endangered Species.
Okay.
Rosewood happens to be an endangered species. Of course, there are many plants and animals.
Rosewood? Is that what we call it in
Keno.
local?
Keno.
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 So that's also part of the problem, because it's also used for firewood and charcoal and all that. So the thing is, so they made a request to export, because CITES, to regulate it, CITES makes sure that the trade in rosewood is very efficiently regulated, and that includes also giving a limited export quota to countries. You have to show quantity that you can export. They look at it and they are able to verify this falls within justifiable, let's say, sustainable use of that product. Then they make that determination, that they give you an export quota that you can take out this much, not beyond this.
Not beyond that.
So Gambia government made some submission that they wanted to export 50,000 cubic meter.
Okay. And when was that?
This was around March.
Year.
On June 8, which is barely a month ago. June 8.
That should be a little over a month ago.
Yeah, little under.
No, less than a month.
Less
than a month.
So on June 8, CITES made a decision that Gambia has to be suspended because the documentation Gambia provided is not satisfactory. In other words, they did not provide proper custody, that we actually have wood. Proper, we didn't. Because the problem is that part of our work when Malagan, the last story we did, this was around April, we had actually written to CITES to say that they are in fact complicit too in Gambia's illegal involvement in Kasama's timber export.
Because the Gambia doesn't have it in the first place.
Because they know Gambia does not have it in the first place.
I see.
They give Gambia an export quota and say you can export this much.
And they don't have it.
But they do know CITES has both a secretariat that has a scientific capacity, and they know Gambia what exists where.
I see.
So they knew Gambia does not have. They have been approving it all along. So,
and the Gambia is getting it from Kasam.
Yeah. So now I think probably they must have also come to the realization that this can no longer continue.
I see.
And that they actually suspended Gambia's launching. So of course Gambia also came to say they.
Only yesterday I had.
Yes. But that is more like you're giving a red card and you said, okay, I'm sitting out the next match. But you have a red card.
But you have been expelled. Yeah. You have no choice. You cannot participate in the next match, of course.
But also, I mean, the reality is that in the past, Gambia hasn't shown seriousness in terms of this. Even during the course of my story took few months. During that course, Gambia has always used an export ban as a cover. So when they issue an export ban, they said would you imagine there was a ban on export of rosewood from 2019 December.
Yeah.
Because around April they packed some wood at Fatou, then they exported those. By December they put up a ban. That ban was never lifted.
I see.
It's still active.
But rosewood was still going.
They still export rosewood, and intermittently they keep issuing fresh export bans. So ban does not actually mean anything in the Gambia.
I see. So it was just text. So I mean, West Coast as a region, I mean, we know there is no rosewood, but this is where the problems involved in this thing comes through. I guess they transport it through West Coast, isn't it?
Well, West Coast is in fact the place that's affected by this foreign Senegalese intervention.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So West Coast is both affected in terms of stability and in terms of resources, and also in terms of human capacity. Because if you look at it, it's displacements of Senegalese activity in Fonyi, in Casamance, which is as a result of the on April, their independence, Senegal, Macky Sall made a declaration that they will no longer tolerate export of rosewood from Casamance. That's why the Senegalese are fighting a war in Casamance.
Yeah. I mean, the Rosewood is believed to be the source of income for
It's believed to be at the center of the conflict. So West Coast is like the center. So when the activities happen, then everything spill over to West Coast. And also, it's also the transport route. Exactly. Whether you are stealing it from customers or you're stealing it from Guinea-Bissau, you still have to pass through West Coast.
Under your chairmanship, or yours, I mean, how would you have policed, or how autonomous would you be in policing the borders, so that this kind of problems, people which certainly cannot be left to the central government alone because you are a local authority, how would you have addressed this?
I think my uncle, you wanna go?
Go ahead. I
mean, I can allow you go.
No, I mean, people would like to.
Now, what I envisage is there has to be collaborative partnership in fighting this issue. The area council alone cannot control it. Government, the central government, has all the resources at its disposal to protect the region, West Coast region, because like he rightly said, the rosewood trade.
Royalties in passing through. In passing through routes.
No way.
GRA
to West Coast.
They pay to forestry, and they pay to also
not the Alcalonu or
No. I mean, the transportation of this rosewood is left with the government, central government. They take. That's why they.
Wouldn't you be concerned if, like he said, it has insecurity in West Coast?
Exactly. Definitely, total insecurity.
I mean, like he said, for me, even when it started, a lot of people look at it from the political perspective, and sometimes it's very sensitive. I mean, politics, tribe joined together. When this war started, a lot of people blame Macky Sall for what was happening. My belief has always been for Senegal to have peace and for Gambia to actually enjoy that, especially for West Coast. You know, the illegal cutting of these very important trees for timber need to be stopped. Because it's a source of conflict in the first place. And you know, at some point, I am a member of NPP, but I had this discussion with a very senior government official as to why Gambia government will allow, because when you go to Kembuje after Brikama, Chinese have huge
mills
there for mills.
Sawmills,
They put them in container and ship
Up
them.
to now.
Go there tomorrow.
No. Even this morning you passed through there.
So these are things that I really believe should have stopped. One, for stability, and two, for also environmental protection. Because look, there is a serious problem with climate change, and a lot of fauna, which actually supports the flora. The flora that supports the fauna, the animals and plants. I mean, really need to be protected. Otherwise, I mean, these, you know, cutting down of trees affects the amount of rainfall we receive. And this
we don't have any of this. We don't have any of this species of trees anyway.
Some. I mean, one thing I would do if I ever become successful is actually if you know this ban is not adhered to, is engage the defense and interior ministry at central government level to make sure we look into dealing with the matter, because there is a problem that is not safe.
Government is complicit.
Government might be, but let's say politicians have to put a lot of things into consideration before they act. If you are not careful, you risk your position. There are very powerful people involved in this. And in fact, people that might support you, you know, like youth.
So you explain, that's why the government is reluctant.
The youths will tell you, the youths, I know youths that, you know, UDP, NPP, you know, APRC would tell you, this is where we get our, this is our source of living. So you stop it, they're angry with you. So I think, you know, it all boils down to a lot of factors. How do we engage the youth? How do we, you know, refocus and redirect their frustration into something else? That's where I said poultry production. When you have a land in Fonyi and perhaps get a place that would, you know, produce 2 million, 3 million, you know, chickens a day, let's say, when it's gone to actually sell in the market, you would create a lot of jobs. And as he said, I have engaged institutions back in Canada, and you know, there is one thing that Canada is very good at. It's a huge agricultural country. They produce a lot of grains and a lot of stuff. So at provincial level, I've actually written a letter to the premier of our region, and I wrote a letter to the Prime Minister and to also the mayor of the capital. And I was given actually a date for one of them. When I go back, I'll be meeting the mayor. So one of the things that I'm looking at is, because this will take time, before we get to that level that we will cater for every young man, Jamaican government and the mayors, they flew to Canada and they say, hey, we have a lot of unemployment here. You have a lot of farmers here, but they have problems with labor. What they do is every year, like right now, they have almost 300 Jamaicans given visa to fly to Ontario, and they'll be provided with accommodation, they'll be provided with food. They work on the farms for 5 months, and they'll be paid good money, $4,000-$5,000. And when the farming season is done, it's winter, they send them back every season. So they get, let's say in Gambian terms, $400,000-$300,000 in 6 months. So if you are able to, actually, I have spoken to the Foreign Affairs Minister Tangara on several occasions that Canada is a country that's very powerful. It has a lot of potential. It's an emerging power, and we need to be proactive to be able to tap some of these opportunities. So I want such things to to be looked into, where you can get Gambian youths. I don't know how much a farmer gets here anyways, whether 10,000, 20,000 at the end of a very painful season. When you have young people getting that opportunity, 200 of them every year, coming from West Coast, going to Canada, working for 4 months and coming back with
getting them back would be
and also, you know, through the central government, help us with that connection where Gambia has some fantastic vegetable stuff. West Coast is the bread basket, and I'm sure he's old enough to know that there used to be a time when OJ was an agriculture minister. Gambia would transport vegetables every weekend from Gambia direct to the markets in England. This helps with it. So I believe Gambia government should engage, especially a country like Canada and European countries. When I become a mayor, these are chairman. These are things that I'm going to pursue very, very, very robustly to make sure that our mangoes, our watermelon, you know, that, you know, half of it gets spoiled here.
I think it's important to do some
clarity. I will ask you now,
what
next following this ban on the road?
I think it's important to do some clarity, because so that people are not just lost in government propaganda. The reality is that the environment minister is expected in Dakar soon.
The new one?
Yes. And my personal opinion is that every other thing the government and the cabinet supposedly is doing, it's meant to give him something to put on the table when he gets to Dakar.
Is it called by Dakar or by the international?
No, usually they go there like they did it last year, and when they go there, this is at the center of the discussion.
Yes, they said.
Yes, but by all conduct, the Gambia government is not serious about this. This is not a ban. This is what they do. So they always say, in our course of our investigation, they always say, oh, we place a ban. In fact, in the text, if you read, they said, anybody who is going to import wood into the Gambia will have to import it with good documentation. So what they do is that they go to Casamas, they go to Guinea-Bissau, they go to Casamas and take wood, steal it, and they go to Guinea-Bissau and take a fake certificate of origin. And they stamp it. It's like people, the way they are circumventing the illegal diamond trade. Yeah, when the blood diamond was banned.
Liberia, Sierra Leone.
Yes, so you go get a diamond from Sierra Leone or Liberia. You go get a certificate of origin from Zimbabwe.
Where there's no trouble.
Stamp it and it passes. So that's what they've been doing. So now they are saying, oh, you can bring timber here, but if you are importing, you must have documentation. But in reality, nobody imports timber into the Gambia. If they are serious, they would have just changed the act and banned timber trade. But that's not what they are doing.
I see.
They are just dealing with the rumor, the situation.
Yeah.
So that they give the minister something to take to Dakar. That's the reality. I mean, if Gambia government wanted to ban timber, they would have banned it. Currently, the amount of timber that's in this country.
That's what I'm saying. Going forward, what do we do now? I mean, the timbers that we saw on the way.
But the thing is, the people who give money to the politicians, whether NPP or others, are the same people who are doing the timber trade. I mean, Barrow's friends are doing timber export. If you go to our story, the list of people with license, they are prominent people. They are people they know, and also, I mean, Gambia government did an investigation, some so-called timber task force in 2019. I'm not saying they didn't arrest or charge anybody. They did not even publish the report.
Wow.
No one knows the report existed. It was just on the desk of the president, director of forestry, and the minister. Period.
That's all.
No one even know they did it. And that indicted people, people who have been bribing police along the way, people who have been involved with a lot of things, and we provided, and in fact said the Gambia government and through the Department of Forestry is involved. That's the language of their own task force. But they say the people, the Department of Forestry remain intact with the same people. They are doing the same illegal business until the time we published our story. They were still certifying certificates of origin that when we saw it the first day, when they saw it to me, I told them this is fake. Right away, because even you see it, you know
it's fake.
And the guy they said stamped it. I contacted the guy. He was former director of Department of Forestry in Bissau. I contacted, and he told me, Mustapha, we are under a ban. We don't issue CITES approval. So he told me this is fake. They're forging my signature. It's so they know. If I know, the minister knew.
No.
The director of Department of Forestry knew. All the guys at the. In fact, you go to Ministry of Forestry Environment. You talk to people. They at the heart of it. They know what was happening. The president knew. Before the last container that was coming, the president knew a vessel was coming to take the containers that were inside the ports. So containers, 300 plus containers, were found inside the ports. They knew. Everybody in government knew.
How interesting.
So the heart of government knew everything happening in the illegal timber trade, and government is certifying the same illegal for export.
So what is the announcement tomorrow?
So the whole thing was, it's like they always do. On March 3rd, they issue a ban on illegal timber trade. On March 18th, they issue a license for someone to export 100 and something containers. That's what they do. So I think that thing is the same. It's not a big difference.
I know going forward these two.
And also, I just want to say that the thing is, a leader is a thought. A leader is not a follower. There is a reason why they call a leader a leader. You do not get carried away because the public opinion is in favor of a particular thing. I got a conversation with one of the timber traders. I called him and he said he is not going to grant me an interview, but he wanted to meet me during the course of our investigation. And he came to meet me at Kim Baker. And what he told me was, You don't know how much people benefited from this, how much. I knew that is a lie. It's a cover. It's just meant to convince the people. What you are doing, in the last 1 decade, these people fell 1.4 million trees in Casamas. Wow. According to Environmental Investigation Agency, EIA. 1.4 million trees. Keno takes a minimum of those who know 25 years. Put a foot our level to damage.
So how long will
now
it take?
Imagine how many Keno do you have to regenerate?
And how long?
A lot more. How long it will take?
And you are destroying.
Not in our lifetime.
No, in fact, not to cut you short. I think the perception we have here about, for me, let me personalize it, is that it is not fair. Gambia is fueling the war in Casamas.
That's what they said.
No, we have caught that. We have destroyed our forests to the point that we have to venture into some other lands. It's not fair. And look at Nyambai Forest.
But we thought this.
Look at Nyambai Forest Park.
But the thing is, you know what I cannot understand. All these things were supposed to have happened under Jammeh.
Yes.
Jammeh was the one the Senegalese accused.
Exactly.
So it surprised me that this practice still going on.
The decentralized.
The practice,
Jammeh was
you see,
there.
I suppose
Jammeh centralized it Westwood.
Yes.
Yes, Westwood. I know one of his.
So when Jammeh left, the same people who were dealing when Jammeh was here are the same people who stayed into the business.
So
and they were giving them.
So why do we blame Jammeh
No,
now?
that's why I said we have to change the system. If the system is not correct, nothing works.
Do you think? You see,
of course, I am a member of the NPP that is currently.
So you're going to tolerate this thing?
I have my objective as an individual. I knew a lot of things were going wrong, and I knew a lot of things were also going right. As a citizen with conscience, with responsibility, my role was that I have believed in an individual that if I put in office, he would inspire and correct things that are wrong. My job I have done. I've elected President Barrow, and I knew these problems were happening, but we believe if he comes to power, he's going to change them. That's what my role is right now. The president is his responsibility to put right people in place and remove the wrong people from places. Any other thing now, as he has said, like after the election, I've made it clear, the president chooses who speak for him. He has an information minister, he has government spokesperson. These are people he has assigned to work for him. Let them come and clarify. Gambians want to know, let him come. I don't comment on that. I am not defending anybody because it's not my responsibility.
Thank you.
I have put him where I should, and the rest is his responsibility. That is what we expect of him, and that I did. But let me say this: if I ever become chairman of West Coast, like I said, he talked about the Nyambai Forest. There was a day, these environmentalists, we were talking, and we passed Fatou, and I look at Nyambai Forest. Look, I live in a country, Canada. It's beautiful to have trees around. It's fantastic. It's amazing. You feel great. You look at the Nyambai Forest. It's a dumping ground.
Honestly.
I mean, we were talking, if I ever become a leader, I'm going to engage Minister of Environment to, engage the armed forces for me. A lot of money that we get from, let's say, from taxes, we a couple of millions to armed forces, we help clean that Nyambai forest and other forests and regenerate our forest cover. These are very important things. They attract animals, they attract birds, they can serve for sites for tourism.
Exactly.
So
I only hope.
We have 5 minutes or so.
That has been there. You see, during the course of our work, one thing they were doing was they had allocated some money. In fact, they were doing escorts around. They had paid the police, they're giving them some money, even the military, I believe, and some other guys. The problem is not from there. And the problem is not from the average forestry foot soldier. No. The problem is coming from the office of the president. I'm sorry I'm insisting on this, but that is the problem.
And that's the truth. Really?
See, if leadership in a country is not right, nothing else gets right. That's the reality. Now, if the intent of the president is genuine, and sincere, and not just some politics. It's easy to stop the timber trade. It's easy because port itself would have been in trouble by now. I mean, that's where you get. In fact, when we were doing the most recent story after the CITES suspension, I called someone at Environment Ministry. They were not even aware of the CITES suspension. I call one of the guys at the CITES office. You know what he told me? I cannot tell you anything about it. I am on a sick leave. Ordinarily, if you are sick, you would have said, "Oh, I'm sick. We may not be able to," but the way he told me shows he was angry with me. And I care less anyway. So, but that's the reality. If the government is interested in this, they would have stopped it. But the government is the one that they knew these people have no proper documentation. They knew the timber is coming from Senegal. They knew it's been stolen. They knew the certificates of origin are fake. They certify it. And the president knows, the minister knows, the permanent secretary knows, the director of department knows, everybody knows. But because they are going to Senegal, they are...
So they want to have a Silafando.
I don't think they have sense, because Senegal is not stupid like Gambia.
Absolutely.
Senegal military intelligence alone, our story, I keep saying my story.
Of course.
Our story, we did it with collaboration of a Senegalese journalist, and we had an interview with someone in the Senegalese DIPA. That's the information service of their military. And they told us, they were clear. They told us they even have a record of how many trucks they arrested in the Gambia and handed over the Gambia. Senegal has a record of everything. Fonyi is full of intelligence operatives of Senegal. Senegal has everything in the Gambia. So if you think you can just issue a press release, Senegal, and the vice president goes and say, how can timber goes to ports? No one is aware. Yet they know, if you are serious about it, you know already people who are implicated. Why aren't you arresting anybody? Why aren't you taking
that's one thing.
Journalists,
that's one thing. I mean, there's no political will. There's no political will to stop this timber trade.
Sadly.
But then what I am thinking of, if I come into office, if I am ever elected, what I would try to do is to engage government and probably come up with a moratorium on this timber trade
in my region.
and even the land issue.
I don't know if there is. I would say. I mean, since after the elections and the new cabinet, like I said, I know. Yes, I know that people have to take responsibility. When you are giving a job, do it. That's your job, and people will not. So I have seen changes at the Ministry of Environment. I don't know what precipitated or what caused that. Lamin is gone. His permanent secretary is sacked, I understood. That probably could have been. But like I said, I have limited myself so much. I'm very busy, as I've said. I have my own ambition I'm pursuing, and I'm busy working actually back home. So I mean, it's a government, a servant, and people that are working for the public. And I think in the best interest of the government, no matter how bad it is, that is what differentiates me from people. Whether it's bad or good, I am here to talk to the journalists. I'm never afraid. Come speak to them. Spin it, say it anyway, but it's your responsibility to come out, and otherwise you build that impression. I would think that environment minister will grant interviews. Chief of staff now at the office of the president, director of press, OP, they will come on, because it could be a bit damaging. But again, what I want Gambians to know is that West Coast is a bread basket of that country, and I would believe that we can feed Gambians. We can get food that is affordable to an average Gambian, and we can help get farmers maximize their profit from the produce. We can help minimize or eradicate post-harvest loss of farmers' produce if we are put in the office, and I believe we can do this. And you know, a fight. I wish him well. A fight between an uncle and a son. But one thing that is certain, we are both from West Coast. Okay. And strong interest. I admire him a lot from Lamin. I've learned a lot from him, and I wanted to be a good footballer. I'm lefty. I used to be a very good halfback.
I was not too late. Thank you very much, Jammeh E.K. Bojang. He is the aspiring candidate. He's an aspiring, candidate for the UDP. But I'm not here for the UDP. I understand that. We made that clear. And as well as Ahmad Gitteh, who is also aspiring through NPP sponsorship. Journalist Mustapha Darboe, whose media, Malagan, extensively investigated the rosewood trade. Thank you very much for bringing us up to speed with the global and domestic ban in quotation of the trade. We will be back next week, plus, where of course we expect to bring you more hot issues that's happening around the country. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Solar lampol make it look at Kenda Manila for a solar enterprise. Follow the Mungul and Yimbanko can get them to it.
Sumanu Baro, Unjurunko, Ikonga Faleko, Namu Badabanda, Ila Blazola, Nia Gambia Vino, Amira Solar Enter, Nasola Enterprise. Solar Nimbati can do, Kuran, Deda Sala, Aboros in Namo, Kagis and Odila, Amira Solar Enter. Nasola Enterprise. Jaliwo Sola Kende Soto, yeah. Jaliman Fofena, Sola Kende Soto. Enterprise, Sumanu Baro, Unjurunko.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151 or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Assalamualaikum nan lañ rek waaw toge gi ñor na te waaw hankañ luñ wax cin bu naré neex bu baxé Head gi jolly, head gangi jolly all over town lawa. Home again. This is home away from home. Lepp lo xamne rek da ngeen ñew holidays namon ko Gambia fi manan lañ rek bismillah xankañ excellent mo ngi ni weddi gis ayu ciare ñu ngi ni nak nekkal lañ fi ci diggi Manjai ñu ngi on the Manjai Kotu highway ci bori lan Atlas bi waaw ci right next to the Atlas duma sax introduce bagage yi parce que bagage yi mom am shoné waaw Kerr Fatou def na bem baax dina lañ ko benal ngeen gis ko yépp nan lañ nak anything lo lañ na ma rek bo day gisul lañ ko fi ni ngeen di def rek moy ni ngeen ko tamo defé rek reng manela aha ngeen ma lo buga waaw do lañ buga rek ñu indil lañ ko muy Kirkland water muy Mott's apple juice muy apple eve lu mu di nek rek xankay so Charles mën nañu doxantu ni tuuti rek mom jema won gaay rek liñ leen fi amal pine solo ngok coffee mate ngok wow citronella candles but you like being outdoors talk to biti they enjoy the outdoors indil nañ leen different versions of citronella candles ñoo ngi ni neexet nak bu bëgga dé wow bu dé son ngeen ci muntay ga la wax dé xankañ ñoo ngi ni Domino sugar, different kinds of coffee. My favorite in the entire store is this sardine. Sardine B, don't go like it hang sardine. I've had two already and enough. Wow, be my fave in the whole store. Seasonings. Lepp lo lañ soxlon ci seasonings indil nañ leen ko. Muy lemon pepper bean, black pepper, the Caribbean jerk seasoning. So we give this a jerk seasoning. We jerk chicken, we jerk lamb. This is the one and only seasoning we have mom gen sohla for that jerk. Different types of oil. This is my new oil now. Avocado oil. Avocado oil lu mo def. Cholesterol ñaari façon la. LDL amna, HDL amna. So avocado oil li mo def moy dafa yok cholesterol bu baax bi bu ko defé mu wañi cholesterol bu bon bi waaw I'm a health fanatic ak kay lepp luma lek rek dama ko bëgg di baye xel ci sekundaay nak na ngeen fexé nak bu lañ ma simi xamna di ngeen ne fim nek ni nak mu ngi ci liko gëna neex lolu moy lan moy jaay affaire yi lek bi Neosporin dafa nek over the counter garab bo xamne family bu nek war nañ ko mëna am ci seen kër xalé yi buñ daano bruusu tuuti rek gañu ko nga am ko xamne dafa diabetic nek sa kër this is a must have dang ko ci def rek mu daldi rek wér king wow Neosporin ngok lepp lo xamne rek most of the things I use at home I try to bring for you guys in town wow tiki ngok tiki torch you know bi mën nga ko def rek ci sa balcony ba ci lawn bi dafa daxa yoy wow muntay ga tuba mo nek ni then tiki refill la be nek ni yi ni citronella oils lañ yi those are different versions of tiki nga xamne yoy mën nga ko def rek at the deck the balcony outdoors you want to chill out hankañ yoy non la cereals yi ni tamit these are all healthy cereals B is my favorite organic la mom tamit xamna di ngeen bint bi mel organic wa cereal bo xamne la dafa am pumpkin seeds ak flax seeds ak granola mo ngi ni dafa am different versions we have that one and we have that one as well apple juice xale yang fi wal juice xale la mëna wax bi apple eve it reminds me of back in the days moy bi suma xale yi gëne nek ndaw you know I used to love these juices emuñ rek ci Capri Sun emuñ rek ci Kool-Aid but dañ leen indil apple eve ba pare nak indil lañ tamit honest for organic kids wow so nonu la budé nak yaangi am sa office and then nga buga rek covid affaire bangi ni hand sanitizer in a super duper size hankay mo ngi ni de xam ngeen nak luma def rek duma ko cof dama ko def ba max mo ngi ni hand sanitizer bangi ni a big size malo yangi ni si sekundaay ana ngeen excellent different types of rice are all here So we just setting up. You just set up. You get your more stuff. As a matter of fact, so new shipment bangi wara exit hey. But with now adult diapers, you know, the dispense. Ak yenen. So you get right here on Manjai Highway. Sorry wuñ ak Atlas we used to be Elton, legi Atlas la. Ñu ngi jàkkaarloo ak Dr. Slab. Wow. So I think those are very, very good landmarks. So place bi naxariwta am, naxariwta xam at all. And most importantly, dinga am space for park. So all you gotta do is park nice and neat outside. Lo jënd ñu dukki indil la ko ba ci sa biir moto.